clank of the door, the noise of the footsteps, banging, all the words are known as onomatopoeic words. Now, let us go through the chapter and have the exact idea what is the writer trying to tell us.
Okay, so let's start. Please keep your textbook with you. Open page number 1. Let's read the title of the chapter. Chapter 1. The sounds in the evening. When the sounds take over. This chapter is written by Eleanor Farjeon. She was an English author of stories, poems, and plays for children. The sounds in the evening describes many sounds that can be heard in the evening. Please open page number 2. Now, please tell me one thing, that what are the things that you like to do in the evening? Did you observe any of the sounds in the evening which are different from the daytime? Now let us see what all sounds our poetess has heard. Let us go line by line and have a look. The sounds in the evening go all through the house. The click of the clock and the pick of the mouse, the footsteps of people upon the top floor, the skirts of my mother that brush by the door. Now here the poetess tells us that she can hear the clicking sound of the clock and the pick sound of the mouse. She can also hear the footsteps of people upon the top floor. Now here when we mention about the top floor, what do you think? Where should the poetess be living? Oh yes, she must be living in an apartment. Okay, and there must be some floors upon her house, upon her flat, upon her apartment. So, when it is evening, she can hear the footsteps of people upon the top floor. Now, those footsteps can be of the people who are coming back to home from their workplace, or the children returning from their classes or studies, or the children who have returned home after playing in the evening. Now further, she tells that the skirts of my mother that brush by the door. Now you might be thinking that can the skirts of her mother brush by the door? That means can her mother's skirts brush the door? Oh no. Here the meaning is that when somebody comes, the mother tries to open the door. At that time, her skirts or her clothing which she has worn, that is brushed by the door. That is making a different type of sound. Okay? Let us move further. The creak in the boards and the creak of the chairs. Now here I want all of you to observe a little bit. There are two different spellings, C-R-I-C-K, crick, and C-R-E-E-K, crick. The pronunciation of both the spellings will be crick. But then, why are they given differently? Because that is not a different meaning, that is the same word. Okay, but it can be considered as a slang. Slang means some regional or local language when we use. Okay, so both are correct. Both means one only, that is creaking sound. The stiffing sound when we sit on the chair. That is the meaning of creak. So here the poetess can hear the creaking sounds of the boards also, the creaking sounds of the chairs also. Have you ever heard any of such sound? When we sit on a wooden bench or wooden chair, it creaks sometime. And when the teacher is writing on the board, that also makes screeching sound sometimes. Let us go to the next line. The fluttering murmurs outside on the stairs, the ring of the bell, the arrival of the guests, the laugh of my father at one of his jests. Now here she tries to describe the ringing of the bell when somebody returns home and the fluttering murmurs. Now fluttering means we have already studied that flapping to flap wings quickly or swiftly. But murmurs don't have wings. Murmurs means speaking softly. But that doesn't have any wing. That means the sounds are floating in the air. The sounds of the people speaking something which is unclear to the author, to the voice. Okay, so that fluttering sounds also she can hear in the evening when she comes home. The arrival of guests, the laugh of my father at one of his jests. Now, when everybody is at home in the evening, the guests also generally come in the evening so that the people can meet each other. At that time when all the people are sitting together, having talk and fun around, at that time she can hear the laugh of her father at one of his jokes, one of his jests. So she can hear the sounds of people laughing also. The clashing of dishes as dinner goes in. The babble of voices that distance makes thin. Now here you can see that the poetess also observes the sound of the clashing of dishes. Now when do we hear this sound? When we are going to have food, when the mother is preparing the table for having dinner, or when we have finished the dinner and the dishes are to be kept in the washing area. Right? You can hear such sounds of clashing of dishes when it is dinner time, when it is evening time. The babble of voices that distance makes thin. Now as we have seen in the vocabulary PPT that the babble means speech that is difficult to understand. Now as we were talking about guests, those guests are talking about something which the poetess is unable to listen clearly. As she is far from them, the voices are being thin. That means being unclear. Let us go to page number 3. There, the first line is the mewing of cats that seem just by my ear. That means when the poetess is hearing the mewing of cats, she feels as the cats are just moving near her ear or near her in the house. The hooting of owls that can never seem near. That means she can also hear the sound of hooting of owls. Here she is trying to tell that can never seem near. Why? Why she cannot feel that the owls are near? Because the owls live on trees and the owls hoot at night, and the trees are far from her house. So the hooting of owls can never seem near to her. She cannot listen the sound near her ear. The queer little noises that no one explains. Now, as we know, the word queer means odd or strange. Now, the queer little noises that no one explains. That means, other than this, she can explain to herself, she can find out or she can identify the sounds of mewing of cats, barking of dogs, clicking of clocks, pick of the mouse, fluttering murmurs, laughing sound of her father, babble voices. But there are some other queer noises also, some odd or strange noises also, which nobody explains to her that who is making that sound and what type of sounds are those. As we were discussing, when do you hear such sounds which are difficult to understand, which are odd or strange? Yes, we were discussing that when we visit to a zoo, there we can hear different types of sounds which are queer, which are odd or strange. Or when we go for a jungle safari. Or even you remember when you went for playing in the park at night. At that time also we can hear odd or queer noises. That means strange noises which nobody can explain. Those are the noises of maybe insects or other birds. Okay? So, those noises also are observed by the poetess in the evening. Till the moon through the slats of my window blind rains, and the world my eyes and my ears melts like steam as I find my pillow, the world of my dream. Now that means till the moon through the slats. Now she is talking about night time when she goes to sleep. So when she goes to sleep, through the slats, we know slats, right? Slats means thin flat pieces of wood. Now she has slats on her window. Okay? So there the moonlight comes in her room through those slats. So she is talking about the moonlight of my window blind rains. That means the moonlight comes out through the slats. And when it is night time, when the moonlight is entering her room, at that time the world of my eyes and my ears melts like steam. That means she feels sleepy. She is trying to sleep now. Slowly, slowly, all the sounds start stopping. She stops to hear those sounds because she is feeling sleepy. As I find my pillow, the world of my dream. That means when she is asleep, at that time her pillow is her world. And she dreams whenever she sleeps, she dreams whenever she is sleeping comfortably on her pillow. The same things we do, right? Till the time we are awake, we are moving here and there, we are listening to so many things, We are listening to our elders, we are listening to television, we are listening to the other queer noises as we told. But when we feel sleepy, at that time, when we go to bed, gradually our senses calm down and we go to sleep. At that time, we are least listening to anybody. Peacefully we are sleeping, and while sleeping we may have good dreams also. So I suggest you need to read this poem once again so that you can understand it clearly. Any questions if you are having, we can sort it out while we are having our online lecture.
The writer has very well explained about the sounds which she hears in the evening. She has observed all the sounds very minutely. Along with this video lecture, you are going to get a worksheet which you have to do. The worksheet, you can take a printout and write the answers in the worksheet itself, or you can write the worksheet, you can copy the worksheet in your rough book. In the worksheet, you will find two questions. The first question is fill in the blanks. For that, you will have to see the video lecture again, or you will need to read the chapter once again. So you will find the answers in the chapter. So please read the chapter once again and fill in the blanks correctly. In question number 2, you will find some sentences in which there are onomatopoeic words which we have learnt in the chapter. You will have to find such onomatopoeic words and circle them. You can circle them with color crayon also, which will make your work little bit attractive. Okay? So today we talked about sounds. Now I have a small activity for you all which is related to sounds. You have to observe and notice all the sounds around you throughout the day. And you have to list down in your rough book at least 5 sounds which are not covered, which are not mentioned in the poem which we have studied. You can use onomatopoeic words to describe sounds. And one more thing I wanted to tell you about the worksheets was the homework worksheets which you are getting along with each video lecture, that the answer key will be released of the same with the next video lecture, with the next worksheet. Okay? And while doing these things, you have to be very observant. This activity is of observation, and through this activity I will come to know that how is your observation power, how much focused you are. And remember, as I said, the sounds which you are going to list down, those should not be covered in the same thing, in the same poem which we have studied. So observe each and every tiny sound also. Mention it with color pen or pencil, which will enhance the beauty of your activity. Thank you.